You're listening to Reddit with Ash and Josh.
Are we all comfortable? We all settled? This is something I've written for you.
Oh, okay.
Not Josh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rein podcast, the world's #1 equestrian podcast. That is actually a fact, determined by Josh and I. Today, we have the pleasure of introducing a remarkable individual that embodies the spirit of equestrian excellence. Meet Ellie McCarthy. And, I've botched it straight away. Do you know why I've botched it? Is because the page wasn't big enough when I was writing it. So I only put half of that word on. So I basically put, no, it says international dressage.
Did you actually?
Right, an international dressage rider who is here to share an extraordinary journey with us. Welcome, Ellie McCarthy. But the way I put that word, I split it into two.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, when I read that, go on to the next line to finish it, I just looked at it and just went, what does that mean? Ladies and gentlemen, Ellie McCarthy. Usually we have people here that end up clapping.
I see.
They are only here to provide that clap
okay.
to justify the guest's
Okay.
ego. So we will in turn do that clap for you this evening. Ellie, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. Let's delve straight in, shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Who is Ellie McCarthy? Because I think, obviously you've got a bit of a social media following.
Yeah.
People have been following you for a while. You've achieved some incredible things. You're doing some amazing things as well. But where did your journey start?
So I come from like a horsey family. My dad has always played polo and my mum grew up riding. And then my dad kind of started me off on one of his polo ponies when I was very, very young, and then my mum got me a Shetland because the polo pony option wasn't very safe. And I kind of always wanted to do dressage. My mum had a friend that did dressage, and then I wanted to give it a go. I dabbled in polo a little bit, like when I was still in school, just because I kind of fell out of love with dressage for a bit, and it's quite a lot of pressure, and especially when you're younger, it wasn't very fun when it was just all serious all the time. So I did polo for a few years, and then I decided to focus solely on dressage. But yeah, and then now I'm here. When
did you start solely focusing on dressage?
I think I was 16, 17. I didn't do ponies. I had a pony, a very good pony, but he was really naughty. He actually broke my coccyx when I was like 14, and I had like back problems for years because of that. And then I did juniors young riders, and then kind of started taking it more seriously as I got older. That I decided that I wanted to make it a career. Although now I'm like, why did I do that? Because
going through school, was it always the intention to, because you came from a horsey background, to go down that route as a career? Because some people have it like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but was that pretty solid for you?
That was always literally from like when I was a little girl, that was all I ever wanted to do, was just ride. And I even now I couldn't think of anything that I would do like if I didn't do horses. I've been like horse obsessed since I was tiny. But yeah, when I was at school, I think I was the only, like when I was doing sixth form, I was the only girl not going to university. I went to an all-girls boarding school for sixth form. And everyone else was like, had the university stress, like writing dissertations or whatever. And I was there like, oh, I'm just going to play horses. And at the time, I'd always been based with a trainer since I was really young. I'm still really good friends with her. And then I kind of decided to move my horses home because they were based 2 hours away, and my mum was having to drive me like 2 hours away to ride every time. But yeah, then I took my horses home and then started trying to make a business of it. But I mean, when you leave school at 18, it's not.
So was that when you tried to make a business? Was that 18?
Yeah.
What was that transition like?
Impossible. I had like no groom. I had at one point 12 horses at home, not all mine, like a lot of them were my dad's polo ponies in the winter, and I was having to ride 3 or 4 horses. I'd literally just left school. I was doing everything. I didn't get a day off for like 6 weeks once, and it was hell. And then I managed to find someone to help me out a couple of days a week, and then she was able to give me more hours, and then I was able to focus more on like the riding and stuff. But yeah, that's then when I decided to take it more seriously, when I actually started doing well.
So in that period of time when you were younger and you had to choose between polo and dressage, and you flipped from dressage initially to polo, then polo back to dressage, what was going through your mind during that period?
I don't know. I remember saying to my parents in the car one day, like, I think I want to do polo for a while. And they kind of went silent. And I know my mum was quite disappointed, because not at me, more because she loved dressage as well, and she hates that my dad and my brother play polo because it's really dangerous. Like my brother and my dad's has horrendous injuries, really, really bad injuries. And like she just didn't really want that for me, but she kind of was like, yeah, okay. My dad was very happy. But yeah, then when I got to 17, my dad was like, right, you need to make a decision now which one you want to do. And I knew I'd make more of a career doing dressage than I would as a girl playing polo. It's not like it's not hidden that girls won't get as far as guys in polo, and I
really?
accept. Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
There is women's polo. There's also mixed polo, but
So there's men's polo, women's polo, and mixed polo.
yeah, they have ladies tournaments, and women have their own like handicap set. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really know like the details of it, but
I don't think there's any other sport that has
no.
that. That's such a weird.
Yeah, I think it's to like give girls more opportunities to play more higher quality polo. But women like now are really coming up in polo, and they're taken more seriously. And like one of the best players in the world is a British girl who's like a really old family friend of mine. But yeah, it's just men just dominate. They're just stronger. They're willing. Not saying that the girls aren't willing to take the risk, but the men are a bit more like
fearless.
Yeah,
to a certain extent.
exactly.
Is there how does polo work? Is it like they've got teams similar to like the only way I can describe it is like football, which they have like teams in a league and
Yeah, so it's teams of 4. Oh my god, it's actually so much to describe.
to someone who's never really understood polo before.
I'll try to like keep it simple, but I don't know how simple I'll keep it. So you have teams of 4, and each tournament, and each person has a handicap up to 10. So 0.
Similar to golf.
Yeah, it's -2 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. I think there's maybe 6, 7, 8, possibly 10 goalers in the world right now. I don't think there's 8. I think there's more like 6, 10 goalers, which is the highest. Like that's like
goalers.
10 goalers, that's what you call them.
What's a goaler?
Just their handicap, basically.
Oh, that's the handicap.
Yeah, like they're 10 goals, so you could call them a 10 goaler or.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And each tournament is made up of the handicaps of the players that added up.
Yeah.
So you'll have goes from 4 goal, 6 goal, 10 goal, 12 goal, 16 goal, 20 goal, 18 goal, 22 goal.
Right, I'm dyspraxic. The minute you started introducing numbers there, I was completely following it, and then you threw numbers in, and now
so they have low, medium, high goal, and the high goal is the higher handicap players playing together, basically.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it's pretty much worked out. And then the game is played in chukkers.
Okay, so what's chukkers?
Which
here?
is like sections to the game.
Okay.
So in a medium goal, you will usually have 4 to 5 chukkers, and a chukker is 7.5 minutes each.
Okay, so like each half, like each quarter or something
exactly,
like that.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's similar to like, it feels it's got American football in it
Like-
and golf
Kind
and
of,
like.
yeah. And like
It's like ice hockey, isn't it?
Yeah, probably,
high
actually.
goal is 6 chukkers. So
Yeah.
it's a lot longer, and it's quite. It's
Oh,
very,
so you
very
can
tough.
different games of different chukkers.
Yes, yeah. So like the
Right.
higher you go, the more chukkers. You'll only ever have, I think the maximum 6.
Right. Okay. What's the minimum?
4.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that as if I was going to be competent to play a minimum at a level. I can barely trot.
So that's basically the general.
That's the polo side
Yeah.
of it. Right. Okay. That makes sense. And your mum was worried about the injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there more injury? What sort of injuries do they sort of incur potentially? And is it quite frequent?
I don't know how frequent. Like you'll probably get. My dad. Most players will have 1 full a season. Maybe not. It depends. My dad has had a few years ago. He fell off playing polo in Argentina, and he landed. It was only a practice, and he landed on top of his head, and ended up fracturing some vertebrae at the bottom of his neck, his sternum, his ribs.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and like the hospital in Argentina were like, oh yeah, you've just broken some ribs. So you can go home. So he flew home like with a neck brace on, and like he got home and he like couldn't cough, he couldn't sneeze, and my mum was like, that's not just your ribs, like that's not normal.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically he had to wear like a back brace for a while.
What?
Yeah.
Does he still play now?
Yeah. And
Mental.
then actually the worst injury he's ever had was he broke his arm. He snapped his arm in half here.
Wait, hang on a second. He snapped his arm in half.
Completely in half. My brother saw it.
Was it swinging?
My brother saw it and thought it was his
thought would
elbow.
be nice.
Yeah.
Nice like that.
That was the worst one. He got it. The hospital he went to didn't fix it properly, so he ended up having to have it like redone. But they basically cut through the middle of his bicep instead of going around it. So now his bicep is like really short and deformed. But
Leave it out. I bet you it looks massive and really
he goes to the gym,
defined.
but like it's short compared to the other one.
Right,
But,
I bet you it looks really lean, perfectly shaped.
He wasn't
Looks
lying
like
when
a
he said he was
geek.
going to send your dad this podcast episode. He's
Yeah, I was.
talking him up now.
Yeah, I would like to play polo myself, and if you need a new captain for your team, you know where to find me. I bet you that was quite a conversation that you had to have with your mum. Like, so may have broken my back. But
my mum hates
okay.
it. Like if ever like him and my dad has a fall, my dad or my brother has a fall, she just can't. She can't deal with it. Like, my dad had a really bad concussion this year. Sadly, one of his ponies, its leg just snapped. He was just cantering along, like at the elbow basically, and he's just cantering along, turned, and her leg just went like that.
was that her like done or?
Yeah. So unfortunately, she had to be put down. It was really
Right.
sad. She's a very good pony and really sweet horse.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad fell off and had a really bad concussion. Like he woke up, he couldn't remember who he was, who my brother was.
Do they play on the same team, your brother and your dad?
So we have a team called MLaw Polo Team. We have MLaw S and MLaw J. Oh no, sorry, MLaw Red and MLaw Black.
Right.
So my
okay.
dad plays MLaw Red, my brother plays
Are
MLaw
they
Black.
your teams? So
Yeah,
you-
it's our
you-
team.
you
It's our
own the
team. My
teams?
dad's kind of like made my brother his own team, so they both play in the same tournament. So sometimes they do play against each other.
Oh, that must be some
Yeah,
serious
fun for
rivalry
Christmas.
there.
Fun for Christmas.
It's really hard.
play
To,
for
like, I'm like,
Emerald Black.
I'm like, whose tent do I go to? Because like the players have tents that they go in like before the game.
You play
And
for
I'm
Emerald
like-
Black. I heard that shit, mate.
I'm like, whose tent do I go to? And then like whoever wins, I kind of go to that tent because like you just know the loser's tent is just not, the vibes are just not going to be good.
Oh
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I didn't think people. It sounds stupid, but I never actually considered people falling off on polo.
Oh, it's bad.
The reason-
People die.
What?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I did going on to that because that's mental. I didn't think people fell off because every time I've ever seen polo, it's been on like a clip on Made in Chelsea or like the Real House, and it's just so like casually being played in the background. But it just looks really graceful.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a completely different sport the way you've described.
It's really rough. Like the way that they're like riding in, like it's called riding off. So they like bump into each other with the horses. They ride each other off, and it gets quite physical. And they're going like 30 miles an hour, the horses. And these guys are like riding each other off at 30 miles an hour and like having to hit a ball at 30 miles an hour. And,
I can understand why you chose dressage.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Did you
sense.
choose dressage, or was you edged more towards dressage?
I was edged
from your
more
mum?
towards it, but I decided that myself because I just thought, do you know what, polo's going to get more serious for me, and I know that I didn't mind being like going fast and being quite like aggressive and stuff. I'm like that naturally, but.
Did you have a moment for yourself where you was like in polo, like shit, this is just like not for me?
No.
No,
I would still play now if I was given the chance. Like every now and then I say to my dad, oh, there's this ladies tournament and I've been asked to play, can I borrow some ponies? And he'll always find a reason as to why I can't.
No, they're Emerald Blacks. Don't touch them. They're top tier, mate.
Am I right in saying you did the Junior and Young Riders Europeans?
I did Young Rider
Rider
and
Europeans.
under 25s.
And under 25s. How was that experience for yourself?
So that was kind of like, I only made the Young Rider team in my last year.
Right.
I tried.
Were you on the team with Jess?
No.
Is that just the
Just Gal?
Oh,
Yeah,
we know Jess.
I was with Lottie Fry, Becky Edwards, and Joanna Thurman Baker.
Not a bad team.
I know.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Well,
good.
if you'd added my name into that, Ellie, then maybe you would have got somewhere.
We
but
got second in the Nations Cup as well together.
that's not too bad to be fair.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they do. So again, I'm still educating myself on everything horses. So I know that Nations Cup. When I hear that, I relate that to show jumping. So is there Nations Cup for dressage
Yeah.
as well?
Nations Cup for everything, including like golf.
Like, what?
Golf do Nations Cup.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like
Okay,
everything.
thank you, because you made me feel a little bit
Yeah,
more
you made him
justified.
look sensible for once.
Yeah,
Well done.
similar. So every discipline sort of has a Nations
Yeah,
Cup.
Nations Cup team. Yeah, golf have a Nations Cup.
Eventing Nations Cup?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
That's
What
what
other-
Just done. You know, my aunt.
I didn't realise it was on. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
you
you know
spoke
Just
about
Done.
it every
Yeah.
other episode. Did you know my
My claim
auntie-
to fame,
my
you know what I mean?
My auntie's in America. She's an event rider, Justin. Yeah. That's it. Every other episode. I'm like, yeah, we know, Cam. Just stumped you there.
No, but the teams for me, that was like my goal throughout my whole like time in juniors and young riders. And I had a good horse in juniors, but she wasn't a team horse. And I also wasn't very good. I could admit that. Like I didn't do very well. My nerves played a big part in that. And then in my last year, that was when I was 21. I was on my own. That was when I was on my own and I'd moved my horses home. And my nerves suddenly just went. I kind of started focusing on myself and I did it for myself. And I was quite strict. I know that throughout my like career, the juniors and young rider selectors never really didn't ever let me go to an international abroad. I was so close to like the score of letting you go, and it just never was quite enough. And the senior selectors sent me to a senior international at Small Tour, and I did really well. And then suddenly the young rider selectors were like, "Oh, actually, maybe would you like to go for young riders?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I would actually." And I mean, and then I just kept doing well after that. And I was lucky. I had Rio Donna Summer, who'd been on teams and stuff before.
Amazing horse.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing
And-
horse.
Livy Oakley had him before.
Oh, really? No
He
way.
did like 5-6 Europeans.
You know
That-
You know Olivia.
Yeah,
You do know Olivia.
I believe you that I do.
Your face says otherwise.
100% believe you. I just can't. At this moment, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to need to go back to Seal in a minute. So I'm just going to go, yeah, completely agree. Olivia, big shout out to you. See you
But
soon.
yeah, I was quite strict with like.
I don't think she'll be listening to this podcast.
This is the top tier podcast. This is. Don't do no BTEC listeners. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, I was really strict for, like with doing it for myself, and like the selectors had shows they wanted you to do, and yeah, I did them, but I was very much so like, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then they kind of let me. Like,
Was there many people before you that had that sort of mentality, attitude going into it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally know. I mean, Becky Edwards is another one. She really stands up for herself.
Yeah.
And Lottie is one. Lottie, you know, she's her and
Smashing it.
exactly.
Yeah. Achieving everyone's dream.
Can I just go back to a basic question? Everyone that listens knows this. Lottie Fry.
Yes, correct.
Was she at the Olympics? Lottie Fry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Olympics. She was world champion last year.
Because I've heard the name and I know certain names, so it's me trying to piece bits together. But
Just the Europeans last week.
yes,
It was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah,
Right,
last week.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah, she's absolutely incredible rider.
yeah.
Wow, what is she? She's at a similar age to us, like 26.
She's my age, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I remember actually because she. Did she just recently win something that no one her age had won? I may be chatting rubbish.
Don't know that you
don't
could
know.
be correct. Who knows?
And I feel like we spoke about it. It's like, I can't believe
Don't
she's-
put this on me.
It's the only
Don't
way I
get
can
me involved.
It's only if I can divert attention, it makes justification. I feel like she just won something recently that was actually really impressive, and I remember
Well, yeah,
seeing.
she
They were-
was
she's at the
world.
senior
She was
Europe.
world champion.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, so it's probably that, Ellie. In fairness, so we answered my question right there. Fair play, Lottie. Look forward to having you on the podcast when you want to come on.
I have messaged her. She hasn't replied. So
Ellie, do you want to drop her a text right now?
I'll text her and
Drop
I'll
her a
ask
text.
her.
Yeah. Go on, have a quick refreshment break. Dry the.
So while you have a quick drink, I will ask the next question. So, what was?
Just love the way you delivered that. But go on, go on.
Thank you. So, what was the experience of the sort of junior and under 25 Europeans like for yourself? Was it enjoyable?
Yes.
Okay.
The young.
Be as honest as you want to be.
I just don't want to get in any trouble, but.
Well, whatever you say, I can generally edit.
I won't say. I won't say names. So I.
No. Say names.
Because he won't edit it out.
Yeah. You say the names and just say bleep, and I'll bleep it.
The young rider. Sorry. The young rider Europeans. So, I enjoyed it. I did really well. I was like friends with all the other girls on the team, so we did have a really good time. At the time, our selectors were arguing with each other.
Right.
And I know there was a lot of tension between all like the team of BD people that were there. The riders just kind of ignored it. But it's things like our chef to keeps are the only ones allowed to collect score sheets at the Europeans. And we obviously, all the riders wanted to see our score sheets before our next test, and we either didn't get them or we got them very last minute, so we couldn't really sit down and look at what the judges said from the test before, and that was because they were arguing, and it was just a really weird atmosphere.
The judges were arguing with different scores.
It was our selectors who choose the teams from BD.
Right. Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I loved our selectors. I'm still really good friend. I'm friends with them. It was just we did, as the riders didn't really let it affect us. I know one mum got very angry with one of them because she was being a bit difficult or something. I wasn't there, but but then the whole experience for us was amazing. We came really close to winning a medal, so we can't really complain. And then under 25 Europeans that I did a couple of years ago, I had a really good season leading up to it. I won all the Premier Leagues. I did really well at international. Charlotte was kind of saying to me, you could win a medal. You could win a medal at this Europeans if you keep going how you are. And I knew my horse was good enough to do it. And I hadn't even had him for a year. So or I hadn't been riding him even for a year. And I got to the Europeans, and we as a team knew that we could win a medal. We had a really good team. It was Alex Harrison,
and that other bloke. No, he's really good. Really, really enjoyed the way he decided.
I got it.
Because, I'll tell you who it wasn't. Josh Hill, underscore official.
It's Lucy.
Why bring me into this? This is unnecessary. But on another note, Alex Harrison is a beautiful rider.
Yeah, it's Lucy Amy. Yeah. I get confused because she has two first names as her second name.
Lucy, I wouldn't take that if I was you.
Double barreled.
So okay, right. I'll start again.
Double barrel it.
Make it easy for you
double
to edit.
barrel it.
No.
It is probably double barrel, isn't it?
So we as a team knew that we could win a medal.
Yeah.
It was myself, Lewis Carrier, Alex Harrison. Stop looking at me.
It's my job to look at you. I'm a host.
Okay.
Yeah, go on. Give it third time lucky. Lucky number 3. So you was riding a horse. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic, Ellie. So who was you riding your horse with?
It was Lucy Amy, Alex.
Oh God.
Okay, serious.
This podcast is brought to you by.
Okay, so our team was myself, Lewis Carrier, Alex Harrison, and Lucy Amy, and we knew we could win a medal. We had all been doing really well all season, and with the teams with the Europeans, you obviously have 4 riders, and they choose a rider. BD can choose a rider order. So your first rider, your second rider go on the first day. Your third and your fourth rider go on the second day.
Right.
And the fourth rider we knew would come down to basically winning a medal. And Charlotte came up to me. She said, "Look,
you're not good enough to ride in my position." So
Charlotte came up to me and said, "Look, Ellie, the selectors want to know if you're okay with going last, because I I'm not saying that I was the best that season, but I had the best scores, most consistent scores that
Paper
season.
don't lie, do you know what I mean?
Stats.
She got stats to back you up, do you know what I mean?
Leading up to it, I had like the best scores and like the most consistent and the most scores.
Yeah.
So Charlotte said to me, look, the selectors would like to know if you don't mind going last. You know, the pressure will be all on you. And that's obviously a position that Charlotte is very often in. So she kind of knows. And she said, look, I'll tell them if you don't want to. She said, it's up to you. I said, no, I can handle it. I don't mind doing it. And basically my test went really tits up, like really bad.
So consistent stats then,
It was like my lowest ever score with the horse. And of course it had to be at the Europeans, and it was a huge atmosphere. It was at the same Europeans as the seniors as well. So like, you know, the best riders are in the world were there watching. It was an amazing arena. And I knew I needed to get a 60. All I needed was a 66%. And I'd been on 71 plus all season. And I knew I only needed to get a 66% for us to win a bronze medal. I thought, fuck, like fine. Yeah, cool. Even on a bad day, I can do that. I got 64.
Not so easy.
I know, I was so annoyed with myself because afterwards I was like, I knew exactly what I'd done wrong, and like it was so out of character for me and my horse to like put on the performance that we did.
What do you pin that on?
Oh, go on.
Basically, I was used to warming myself up for the whole year, just because Charlotte's always quite busy and I don't mind. I actually quite like warming myself up because I can get in the zone really.
I agree.
I can get in the zone really easily, and like I know I'm going to be doing the test by myself, so you know. And at the Europeans, obviously Charlotte was there and I asked her to help me, and she obviously trained me full time with him, like 3 times a week. I was driving up to Carl's to go and ride. My horse was based with her, and I was driving up 3 times a week, like staying at hers. And you know, so I was used to it. So I thought, it'd be fine. And I think she wanted me to do it as we would in training. And the thing is, Londi was quite different to shows than he was at home, and she didn't really know that side of him because I'd obviously
she'd not seen it, had she?
No, exactly. And like, he's a lot more sensitive. He's a very hot, sensitive horse. He takes things very personally, and I normally go quite chilled in the warm-up because I know he's going to light up when he gets in the arena. And we did it, and at the time he was going nicely. I was like, oh, this is fine, like he could, you know, this is going really great. And literally 5 minutes before we went in, I just felt him change, and I was like, oh fuck. I just knew I'd lost him. I was like, I didn't say anything to anyone, but inside my heart sank. I thought, I've lost him. I'm not going to be able to.
So that was just on him. It
was my fault. I shouldn't have changed like what I was used to. It's not his fault. Like I knew that he could be like that. I don't know if it was like the pressure of being there and it all being down to me, and I so badly wanted to do well. I just put too much pressure on myself and thought I needed to ride differently, but I really didn't need to because I'd been doing well all season, doing it the way I had been.
Comes back down to keeping a routine.
How do you deal with pressure like that?
Well, so afterwards, when I got off the horse, we had to the British rider had to go to the BD like media team and do an interview, and I was like, I knew I'd lost us the medal, and I was by 2%, like 2%, and I was literally dreading it. And I was really professional, and like they were all really understanding. Like the selectors were so lovely to me. They were like, Ellie, you know, it was a hard job for anyone. It was your first like time doing. It was a lot of pressure, and I felt my teammates obviously never would have said like I let them down or anything, but I just knew that I had. And it, even to this day, that was like 2-3 years ago now, I still really struggle with it. Like at the same time, I said to my groom, and I had my best friend, Steph Wood. I don't know if you know Steph.
Yeah.
I had Steph there, and I said to her, like, I'm actually glad it was me because I know I can take that. I'm quite a strong person. And like, yes, it was a really shit feeling, and like knowing that I'd cost us the medal, but I was really glad that I had that on me and that they didn't have it on them.
Yeah,
because
of course.
I thought I don't wish that on anyone.
It's sold us wrong.
Exactly. I didn't wish it on anyone, and I thought, you know what, like I'm glad that it's me that's had to deal with that and not them, because I know that I can deal with it. And then my next test was even worse. So
I need to quickly go do a quick break. You keep going, but I'm going to leave with a question for you to while I come back. I think because Charlotte trains you, I think.
Would she come on the podcast?
Yeah, would you mind? Because we're just trying to up our stature of guests. So you're fantastic, Ellie, but a stepping stone. So take that. I think that's quite admirable. Oh, I can't even say it.
Admirable.
You mentioned it worse.
Admirable.
God, you're so educated. That word of her to, what, like you say, she's in a position that she faces that sort of pressure quite frequently. And I assume there's a level of, as your trainer, to also put you in that position, there must have been an element of sink or swim. Here you go.
Yeah.
And to grow from that.
Yeah.
And see how you get on with.
Yeah. I mean, Charlotte's very much like...
Don't look at me anymore. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I just thought I'd leave with the topic. I'm quickly going to go check the
Should we keep
lights.
talking? Or?
Yeah,
honestly,
carry on with the
this
podcast.
is the most un-equestrian podcast.
It's not unequestrian. It's
equestrian. It's just
it's
not
the most unprofessional podcast out there.
No, it's just the world's number one. We'll leave it at that. Well, but I wouldn't say unprofessional. I'd say this is fantastic, and if anyone wants to sponsor it, then this is the best podcast to be doing it for.
Absolutely. So going back to what Ash's question was regarding sink or swim in that moment, that between yourself and Charlotte, you agreed to go fourth. How do you think this experience now, 2-3 years ago, has probably been one of the best things that's happened to you?
Yes, I do actually think it is, because I now know that I will stick to my own guns. And Charlotte did nothing wrong. It was my fault. She just was training me how she normally trains me. Like, I can't fault her. Like, I will never find a trainer like her. But I now know, actually, I should have said, actually, I want to do it this way. And she would have listened to me. I was just going along with what we normally do. And I thought it was fine because that's how we usually do it. I just wish in my head I'd have been like, no, just do what works, as you know.
But it's also that confidence in that situation to be able to go, you know what, actually, Charlotte, do Jazan.
This is the thing, I didn't want to contradict her
exactly.
and be like, no, I'm not doing it like that. I'm going to do it my own way.
Yeah, the best rider in the world.
Yeah, tells you to do something. You're like, no, actually, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah, exactly. But like you say, it is very different when you're performing at a competition in any aspect, whether that's dressage or show jumping or gymnastics.
Yeah.
To keep
you have
the routine
you have all the senior
everything the
selectors watching you. You have all your teammates. You have like everyone watching you in that warm up as well.
Because when one thing changes, everything changes. And that is, it can be the smallest thing.
The thing is, some horses can take that. Some horses don't mind change like that. Same with some riders don't. But that one horse, I knew how sensitive he was, and I knew how he was the kind of horse, he really takes things personally. Like, he will try his hardest for you at every moment, but, you know, you have to do it a certain way with him.
No, entirely so. For me, if I don't have the same daily routine, I'm depressed. So, like, it is entirely down to each, like, individual person on the way that they think is going to work best for them.
Yeah.
And like I say, I hated... like, my worst ever nationals was when I was with my trainer. Like, that was my worst ever nationals.
That's the thing, you get in your routine that you're used to and it works for you, and then when that changes, you're like, oh, like, okay, let's just roll with it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Then actually, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
It's a really weird one. It's almost my horses would probably go better in the warm up with my trainer, but worse in the test, and they'd go worse in the warm up, but better in the test when I was doing it. And it's a really strange concept. But for me, it was almost more down to me as a rider and myself getting in the right state of mind to be able to go down the same line, rather than at that point. What's happened? You ain't going to change a lot on the day. You can get a horse to a certain level better in the warm up or to the best way you can, but the majority of the time the main focus was on myself. I used to listen to music in the warm up, because when people tried to talk to me, I was known as really rude because I just wouldn't talk to anyone or ride directly at them. Get out of my way.
Could you imagine?
Can I imagine what?
I was going to say, could you imagine me if you just said, right, I need to up and leave for 5 minutes? How different. I come back full of confidence that the last 3 minutes of conversation has been really professional and direct about horses. Could you imagine if, spaceships I think are actually made off of geonomic atmosphere. Ellie's going, what the fuck am I doing on this? But horses and dressage. I think, I completely agree. What was you talking about?
We were talking about the experience at Europeans. The question that you literally asked, we discussed it into more detail.
It was a good enough question.
It was actually a really good question.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Charlotte. Shout out to you. Have you got goals to reach for the Olympics? Is that you're looking at Paris? Or is that?
Yeah, I wouldn't lie if I said I'm not going to lie. Like obviously, I want to. I've got a horse that I know is more than good enough. He could be easily an 80% Grand Prix horse. He's still really young. I've only had him a year. I'm not going to put pressure on him. He's only going to be 10 next year. I'm just going to see how this winter of training goes. It was his first year at Grand Prix this year as well.
Is Grand Prix just before?
That is Olympic level.
That is,
that's the top level. Right. We say this to everyone that talks about Paris. If you do make it, +2.
Yeah, we're also hoping at this point. Do you know what? This is the first time we're actually going to put it out there. I think in terms of commentating. Do you not think?
No, exactly. It'll make it entertaining.
At least one of you knows what you're talking about.
But this is the thing.
I think that's kind of generous.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what I mean? It's a bit nasty what you said there about Josh, but I do know a fair bit. You are right. I think it would make it that much more entertaining, even if it was just to not like the actual commentating when they're doing the test. They go,
that bit's the boring bit.
Here's the and to the ring, Ellie McCarthy. She comes in with a stunning passage there, moving from A to C. Here she comes down. She's forgot to go down the centre line, but she is. She's coming in strong with and a fantastic salute. Fantastic. See what I
mean? Nailed it.
Paris hit me up. I think So if you get to Paris, then
of course,
let us know. But we should be working there. In fairness, we're just waiting for an Olympic.
I don't know what agenda we've come up with, saying that we'll be working at the Paris Olympics.
The problem is we come out, we speak to one person, they talk about the Olympics, and we go, there's a connection there, and then we'll go away for 2 days later, and we're like, we're doing all right, to be fair, at the moment.
Yeah, podcast is smashing.
Podcast is growing. Guests are getting better. I mean, Olympics next. I mean, we do sort of overshoot. We do overshoot, but I guess that's the way to be.
Yeah,
is really
gotta aim high.
So, what's the qualification process of?
To be a commentator.
It's got. I don't give a fuck about the dressage. How do I become a professional commentator? Right, hang on a second. Right, everyone compose themselves. So. Ellie McCarthy. What's the process in terms of qualifying for the Olympics? So we've established Grand Prix level is the Olympic level.
Yeah.
Well, I've established that. How do people go, decent little dance that on the horse?
So there's a selection policy.
Josh is just trying to process that for anyone that's listening and not watching, which you can do on YouTube and Rumble.
So there's a selection policy the selectors send out each year with basically the criteria that you need to qualify. You have to do a certain amount of Grand Prix, a certain amount of Grand Prix specials, and it's pretty much only 3 riders are allowed to go to the Olympics now, which makes it a lot harder.
Was there 4 before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that.
One is you can go as a travelling reserve, and you can be swapped in for the second test for the special if one of the other horses is lame or whatever.
Remember Harry told you about the individual that he was going to get swapped in for?
Yes.
Did you remember?
We also know someone that was on as a substitute essentially and that never made it. We do. Oh no, because that's why I understand it. It's similar to like football. Like you could travel and have a sub or like reserves teams, and
but you might be.
That's the only way
you get
that
to
I
go
know.
and experience it all, but you just might not get to compete.
Yeah. I can imagine it's a bit of a ball ache being a substitute. Like it's fantastic because you can say I'm selected for the Olympics, but if you don't, because the thing is, and I know this barely in terms of like the travelling costs for horses, and you could say it's completely different.
That'd be funded by the.
This is where I was waiting for the correction.
Yeah, that'd be funded at the Olympics.
Because I'd imagine if you had to self-fund that, it would almost be.
It's funded by UK Sport. So British dressage, show jumping,
it's the
eventing.
Lottery, isn't it? Yeah,
we get lottery funded.
It's the lottery that funds
we
it.
We get a certain budget each year. Each sport.
I didn't know that. Does the lottery fund majority of the Olympic teams that come under?
I think all of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
What? Wow.
Yeah. A lot of. Do you know what? We are so lucky. Like Great Britain is so lucky that we have that in place because so many other nations don't have that. And
a lot of other nations having to fund themselves then to...
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So your weekly lottery tickets are funding Ellie to go to Paris?
I'll stop playing then. If Charlotte's going, then maybe I might buy three lucky dips. But if it's Ellie, it's a bit hit and miss. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't know that. That's, to be fair, yeah, it makes perfect sense. But they are classed as the UK's biggest charity.
I didn't know that.
Well, you should do now. Right, okay.
So with your training with Charlotte and being around her, what makes her Charlotte Dujardin?
I honestly don't know.
Good answer.
She is just... Anyone who trains with her will tell you the same thing. She is... I genuinely believe she is the best rider in the world. And I maybe I'm being biased. I don't know. I've trained with other Olympic riders, and you know, I've watched a lot of training from other Olympic riders. I have never seen anything like her. Like the way she rides, the way she trains, how quick she can react. She could literally get a donkey to go round a Grand Prix test if she tried. I don't know how to describe it. It's her mentality. It's the way her brain thinks. I don't know.
Is it something that someone could replicate?
No. I think she is one of a kind. I really do believe she is the best rider in the world. Like, I don't think we will ever see another rider.
Do you
like
think
her.
she'll go down as the greatest dressage rider of all time?
She should do.
Wow.
I will. I'll tell you something that'll make you laugh now. So there's a reason I'm saying this off of the back of how incredibly you've just described Charlotte. Once upon a time, gentleman sitting to my left, and I shit you not, in a very established magazine, and bear in mind he has used this as reference for a few times on podcasts as well.
Okay.
He was tipped by, I'll bleep this, Horse and Hound as the next Charlotte Dujardin.
One of 25.
I actually remember that.
Oh, wait.
I remember that.
One of 25.
I remember that.
Wait.
Because I've never made it.
One of 25. You've never mentioned it was one of 25
I've never made it on that list.
It has taken me until now to call it for him to go, yeah, but one of 25. Every other time he's gone, yeah, I was tipped as the next Charlotte. I didn't realise, yeah, you were, as were 4 other people.
I just want you to know, at one point I was very good and very talented. I just had too many partying issues.
Antics.
Yeah, that led me down a very different road.
Sorry, Ellie, because I feel like we now need to drag the podcast back onto a professional note, but I really thought that was the point.
Yeah.
What's the next professional
To
question?
be fair, we're both at Paris next year, just in very different ways. I'm commentating on it.
I might not be. First in the interview to Paris is going to be like, so, this is my French accent. So, what do you know about horses and 4 legs? Josh Hill _official. Yeah, I won't see you at Paris, Ellie. It's just yeah.
I mean, it's a dream. Like, it's a lot. It's most riders' dream. I think most riders would dream of going, but like, it's so hard now that there's only 3 spaces and we have so many good riders in the UK. I mean, I imagine the team will be Lottie, Charlotte, and Carl.
Yeah.
and Gareth the travelling reserve.
Yeah.
But
what happens after the Olympics? So you've got as a rider, your goal is the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
You achieve that. It'd be amazing if you can continually go to the Olympics, but some people struggle when they find or achieve their goal. That what's next?
I'll actually answer that.
Please, it's not like I directed it, but you answer.
No,
that.
but Carl Hester actually done an interview just after the Europeans last week, and he was saying that prior to this, like the night before he was doing his test, he questioned why I still did it. He wrote the test, and the feeling and everything that he got during the test was the reason that he still did it. I think the thing with horses is the special connection that you have with individual horses.
So it's not necessarily the achievement.
It makes it so unique, the partnership that you have with each individual horse.
some horses might make you want to give up.
Yeah, that's
others just make you want to do better and like do it for the horse to like show what they can do as well.
It's funny because you could almost go win a gold on one horse and go, that was cool, but now my next goal is to win a gold on this horse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's almost like actually
every rider is going to strive to get better and do better every time, and like every rider wants to be able to create that with another horse as well. Like Charlotte does it with
ignore that lie. That was strange. It's fine. It's back on.
But it's like Charlotte, she can keep recreating that with horses, and like every time she'll get a new one, she'll say to me, "This is the best one. No, this is the best one. No, this is the best one." And I mean, I've been very lucky enough to ride some of her upcoming horses, and I don't think I will ever get to ride another horse like that.
Wow.
You can tell the difference when sitting on her horses.
Even sitting on
her donkey that she trains to go around.
I don't want to say which horse, but even sitting on one of her horses as a young horse, I was like, this is the best horse. It was a young horse, and I was like, this is the best horse I've ever ridden. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to ride another horse like... I mean, hopefully I will. Hopefully one day I'll be able to train my own like that.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Does she train many people? Or you?
No, not really.
So you're almost in a very... a really good position to be in that scenario.
She is. Do you know what? She is. People might not think she is, but she's actually very approachable. If you want a lesson, you go up to her and ask her for a lesson. She will say yes.
Okay, I will do.
And today, on today's agenda, rising trot.
I think it'd be do you know what? I think it'd be a fantastic video. Charlotte Dujardin gives Ash Howes _official a lesson, because while I know
To be fair, the amount of underscore officials in this podcast is ridiculous.
Well, they need to know where they can find the Instagram handle. But I think that is so funny because I obviously know who she is and what she's achieved is fantastic. I just think the irony of all the people to give a lesson to, me.
No, she is very approachable, and like, you know, I mean, I've seen people go up to her and ask for a lesson. She's like, yeah, sure, go for it. But like, I mean, I don't think many people are actually brave enough to go and ask that and to go and do that.
I will. I will, but you know that Ellie McCarthy? Yeah, she said that you'd give me 50% off. Yeah, that'd be $2,000, please, for an hour. She said that it was more like 98% off. I got my numbers milled up.
Anyway, Ellie, before this pod, we touched on it slightly that you've sort of readjusted the way that your yard works now. Mm-hmm. Over the years of this being your career, how have you found it?
I don't really know how to answer that.
It'll be helpful if you did.
It'll be interesting if you do, because I didn't even hear the question.
Ask the question again.
Please, for all of us here in the room that actually weren't listening.
So, over the years of Ellie doing this as a career, how has she found it?
Why did I hear guard the first time round?
Guard?
I heard over all the years your guard has been up, and I was like, I really don't know where he's going with this. It was the headphones. That was the problem with that. Yeah, 100%.
I have found it's difficult. I mean, I know everyone probably has their perception of me. I'm in a very privileged position to have the yard that I have, to have the horses that I have, and the lorry that I have, and whatever.
We talk about it to other people behind the back all the time. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But I still have to try and run a business.
Yeah.
I still have to work every day to try and make money. Like, a business doesn't run itself. and money doesn't just magically grow on trees or like appear out of thin air.
No.
You know, I'm trying to run a business, not very successfully. I mean, I break even, although now I've sold a couple of horses. I'm a bit happier.
Off to the Maldives for 2 weeks.
Not quite.
1 week.
Has that sort of stereotype people have made of you, has that stuck with you?
No. I said to you earlier, I'm quite thick-skinned. I don't really care what people think of me. Like, people can think what they want about me, and I know who I am, and I know like what I do. And a lot of people think they know everything about me because they see me on social media. That is not even the half of my life. Like, I'm a very down-to-earth, very normal, chilled person.
Like, genuinely, like this, to everyone that's listening, this is the first time, although we've both done dressage, that we've actually properly sat down and spoken, and you genuinely have surprised me as...
What was you guys' first perception of me?
First perception in what aspect?
Was
when
it
you walked through the front door?
An hour ago?
What
did we think before
fucking
you come?
late. That was fucking fuming. Well, this bastard's got me here an extra hour later than I need to be.
Honestly, I was unsure on how you would be as a person. But from social media,
I won't be offended. You can say
no, genuinely, because no, but we both know from social media people are very, very different. So it will be very easy to be like, oh, okay, she's the stereotypical girl that has been funded by daddy. Like, that genuinely would be a very easy assumption, but we're not like that as people. We as soon as you walk in the door,
look at
like,
us.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we can't argue.
Yeah, but
we have neck tattoos, one more prominent than the other.
but yeah, you genuinely are one of the nicest people that we've come across.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, very strange, because you're well, my first perception is I didn't know the fuck you were, really, to be honest. Well, who's this girl getting involved in all of this rubbish? But yeah, no, really, really down to earth. But Josh is absolutely right. It's so funny that how the perception of social media is. And I'd like to think, having had the vigorous hours that we've had with each other over the last 2 hours, that we are very different than what people perceive as well.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Exactly. Let's throw this right back at you. What were your assumptions of both of us?
Yeah,
before we
like
go-
that. Yeah, go on. Be honest, because I love it. If you say shit, I'll love it even more.
Clickbait.
Honestly, yeah. Go on, give us a really give us something really clickbaity.
Oh, I don't want to be mean.
I don't. You get
Do
views.
you really think that you can offend either of us?
I tell you what, just give it a. I thought you were. I can't.
I know what I'm gonna say, but I don't want to say it.
No, come on,
Say it. No. Love
No,
it, because
please.
it'll be clickbaity, and it's
Yeah.
probably true. In fairness,
I'll come across as such a cow.
No, you won't. Honestly.
say it. I love it.
Yeah,
Go on,
come
what is
on,
it?
please.
It's probably the exact opinion that most people have if they don't meet them, so people find you relatable.
It's gonna be more directed at me anyway.
I know it's probably something I've done that is directed at you.
Okay.
Individually, Josh, what do you think?
No, I'll do it together.
No.
Let's
That's
together,
fine. Makes it more
together,
We know it's
personal.
directed at me anyway, so.
Okay, I'd say Chavvy Roadmen.
Nice. Nice.
I normally aim for rapper, but it's close enough.
The irony is that's what Josh has been going for on social media.
I actually don't. You neither of you are either of that though at all.
Did you?
Fuck, I've let myself down.
Yeah. So this is what. Did you think I was in the Chavvy Roadmen sort of just by association?
Gone on social media.
Yeah. This is what I'm confused. Really, what I was putting on social media, you put me and the Chavvy Roadmen.
I just feel like you both come as a pair.
That is true.
Yeah.
Do you know? Actually, I think this is time for a celebration, because this is the first time that through your antics, I've been grouped with you.
Aww.
Yeah. So rather than the other way round.
In fairness, Josh has never mentioned this before on a podcast. I think it's only fair to say it. He is really good friends with Lil Pino from DBE. So, do you?
I have no idea what that is.
Of course you
know
don't.
who D Block Europe are?
No.
Of course you don't. Do you know who? Do you know who?
D Block Europe are? Seriously.
Do you know who Mozart is?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of
just
course.
leave it at that. You just sort of
Says a
answered
lot
my
about
point.
today's podcast, really, doesn't it?
Horses and classical music.
What, is it like grime, rap?
Rap.
Okay, I
How
don't.
do you
I don't-
like?
I'm not
You
a
must know like D Block
I'm
Europe.
not a big fan of
They've
rap.
been in the charts.
If you had to pick a rapper, what would be
yeah, who are we
your-
going for?
You're going to say something like fucking Cardi B.
Oh God, no.
Dave.
No.
She's a Dave girl.
Let her answer.
I don't mind like Stormzy or Central C.
Central C's done a song with D Block Europe.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Sing it for us, Carl.
Probably not, because we would lose a lot of followers.
Only do 9 seconds and we can monetize it. You'll be fine.
No, genuinely.
Did you see him thinking about it there for a second?
Look, at the end of the day, I'm waiting for Little Pino to send me a feature, alright? So don't outdo myself there.
I don't really know who Lil Pino is, but I'm really looking forward to the link up and listening to some DBE. Right, okay. So we all compose ourselves and give some equestrian listeners something horsey.
Yeah, we probably lost a lot of subscribers from today's podcast.
Yeah, yeah. It's not on you, Ellie.
That's on us, don't worry.
It is on us. If you had to pick right now who is your role model for the dressage, and
Charlotte.
Right, first
apart
of all,
from Charlotte.
let me finish.
Okay.
Thank you for the backup, Cole, but I can look after myself. If you say Charlotte, because then otherwise I will title this episode of this podcast How Charlotte Dujardin is the best rider in the world. Rein with Ash and Josh. Ellie McCarthy, what is the point in that for a title? Because we just spoke about it for like 35 minutes. Please tag Charlotte Dujardin in this episode of the Rein podcast. So other than Charlotte, who is a role model that you would look up to at the moment, who you think is performing, that isn't Charlotte or Josh Hill _official, that you can find him on Instagram and TikTok? It's a serious question.
I'd have to say Carl Hester.
Right, why? So I didn't add don't laugh. I didn't add the why into the first original question. So it was just a
I have
part two.
massive respect for Carl because
You'd like to think so. You've just
So, I mean, first of all, he trained Charlotte. He's given her the opportunities that she's had to get to where she is. But Carl, in his own right, is an incredible rider. And totally different kind of rider, totally different kind of trainer to Charlotte. I've trained with both of them. I enjoy training with both of them. But he, time and time again, can, again, like Charlotte, produce horses. And I mean, I don't know how old he is now. I think he's the same age as my dad, so 57, 58. But he's still out there. He got 80% at the Europeans last week. Like, I personally didn't expect him to get that. I don't think he expected to get that. But this is a fact, the way that he can do it time and time again. He always says he's going to retire, he's going to retire, he's going to retire. He doesn't. He keeps going and he gets better and better.
So basically what you're saying is Charlotte and Carl are like the mum and dad of dressage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I've got to say my rider crush currently is
No one asked you. Ellie McCarthy's the guest. That's why we were.
Who's your rider crush?
Catherine Defoe.
Okay.
Who's that?
A Danish rider.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had a horse called Bohemian and he's beautiful.
Please tell me the second name was Rhapsody.
No.
Was it named after Bohemian Rhapsody? Do we know?
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably not in Daneland. Oh, I don't know why I said Daneland. That's
Denmark.
That's like no. That's
Last
like Viking.
That's
That's
Last
like
Kingdom.
Vikings.
That's Last Kingdom.
Daneland to Valhalla.
Yeah, of course.
Did you
it's
watch?
the best.
Shut up! Did you watch Last Kingdom?
Yes.
You've moved up it like you're
Do you know
genuinely moving
what?
up this
I
ladder.
genuinely, we come away with this podcast with some good friends. Shout out to various show jumpers. I'll see you on Saturday for a big mashup. But I feel like we just became best friends.
Aw, my mum loves it as well.
Well, the podcast.
No.
Yeah, huge fan, number one fan.
Fair play, love that.
Yeah.
Last Kingdom. The main geezer went to my school.
Uhtred.
Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he went to East. I feel like I need to.
You need to double check this. Fact check.
He's called Alexander Draymond.
Yeah.
Fake
Before
news.
we was in this studio, we actually genuinely there would be about 7 of our friends would watch an episode, and we'd have a massive TV on the side, and they'd like fact check shit for us, like Joe Rogan. So I'd say something, and we'd be talking, and it'd just pop up, and it'd be like fantastic. Don't have that now, so please don't take anything I say seriously because I cannot prove anything to you at all. I'll tell you what I've just started watching. So
I like this direction.
I know he laughed not because of that.
Oh.
We had a conversation earlier about professionalism, and it surrounded really me and how I need to talk. But it's not the sort of vibe I'm going for tonight. Today's not really the day. We've got a podcast tomorrow. I'll be better tomorrow. Breathe. Okay. I've started watching Vikings.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen Vikings?
Yeah.
It's good.
What, Valhalla?
I've seen Valhalla.
It's really good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
So I'm season 4 into the main show.
Okay.
But I started with the prequel.
Yeah. I started with the prequel.
Yeah, because
I
tried.
couldn't get into the main show as much.
Really? I just couldn't find it. But I know I could.
Netflix.
Fuck off. No, it was on Amazon, but you had to pay for it, and I
didn't want to pay for it.
What about The Witcher?
Oh,
Yeah, I love the Witcher.
Yeah.
Banging series.
Henry
Love it.
Cavill, like that. He is the Witcher.
Yeah, literally.
And now, but they've got
Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Liam Hemsworth. Yeah.
But I heard apparently they might potentially be cancelling it because
I don't understand why couldn't they basically take it in another direction that like Liam is a Witcher but he's like a new one.
Yeah. Okay. No, I get that.
Did you ever play the Witcher game?
No.
Well, yeah. Neither did I. So I don't really know where that was going.
So what does the future hold for Ellie McCarthy?
Oh.
Paris next year.
Hopefully the Olympics at some point in the future. But I mean, it doesn't all be all and end all with the Olympics. Like there's the Europeans the year after that, the World Championships the year after that, and I mean, I'm 26, nearly 27.
You got like 40 more
Carl's
years.
nearly 60, and he's probably still going to be going to an Olympics next year. So I mean, I've got my whole life, but there's no hurry. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, like
I've
if
got
you don't
the
get to the
horse. I've got the
Olympics-
horse that is capable of winning a medal. Charlotte has said
So he'll be 11
she would like to take him as well next
So
year.
he'll be
But
11 next year.
he'll be 10 next year.
10 next year.
So he's still really young.
He'll be 14 for the following Olympics.
He
So he's got plenty
he
of
could
time.
probably even go to one after that.
Yeah,
if he was,
18.
You know.
Well, I think
What's-
Laura Beckelsteimer.
Yeah, Alpha's 18.
Yeah, Alpha's 18.
What?
Delara, Jessica Verndles, I think will be 17, 18 next year.
Beautiful rider as well.
You've sold horses. I've not sold horses. Hence this question. If you take a horse to the Olympics, like you say, you've got a good horse, it wins anything. Not to say you wouldn't win gold, but it wins anything. You then come back and go, do you know what? I'm going to cash in this Ferrari. What's the sort of going rate of a
medal winner is about 5 million.
million? Fuck me.
Depends if it turns into a bidding war as well.
Depends how old as well. That's for a young medal winner. An older one probably.
What?
Yeah.
What?
We're talking like, for example, even the Pony Europeans where a British pony medalled and there was a bidding war between the Germans and the Dutch over this pony while at the Europeans.
And what did it go for?
I don't know, 600, 700,000 and potentially even more. And that was a pony. Yeah.
That's more than a house.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
in terms of like who's the GB rider with the most medals?
Charlotte.
Oh yeah, fight over
she'll
mum
be
and
right.
dad.
She'll be right. She'll be right.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
We're speaking about Charlotte Dudley for the first time on this podcast. Okay. So, and are they all with different horses?
Are we talking Olympics?
Yeah, because that's where the money's at, baby.
Two different horses. So she was before. So when she was in Tokyo, she became the most decorated British female Olympian, and then I think a cyclist overtook her. So in dressage, you can win maximum 2 medals a game. Charlotte's won a medal at every single games. It's 2 medals at every single games.
So in total, how much?
She's got three gold, a bronze. No. Three gold. No.
Come on, this is really bang out of order. She's going to make you do an extra canter tomorrow.
She's got 6 medals.
3 gold, silver, and 2 bronze.
Yeah.
So in terms of horses, how much are those horses that have won in total, how much would that roughly be worth? I don't know prices of horses, hence why I'm asking.
For the 2 horses, I have no idea. I don't think you could put a price on Vallegro.
Oh, that's the geezer that did
Yeah.
the
2012 Olympics, yeah.
Yeah, and you showed me the video where like when I was
band
first
music.
Yeah.
first getting into horses, Josh is like, I'm gonna get a tattoo of this horse.
Did I say that?
No, but I'm trying to make you sound like a dick. But I do know the I thought Vallegro died.
No, he's
No.
still going. He's 21.
That was Totalas that we done a podcast about
Oh,
3 years ago with
wait,
Olivia Towers.
Wait, hang on. What?
We done a podcast episode with Olivia Towers literally like 4 days after Totalas passed away.
Oh yeah, really,
And-
was that a podcast? Or was that just a YouTube video?
No, it was a podcast with Olivia Towers, the OG.
The OG podcast.
Yeah. Well,
What time are we at? What? An hour and 4 minutes.
we smashed it out of the park.
Pretty good going.
What do you think to this as an equestrian podcast? Not bad, isn't it?
I think it's bloody brilliant. I mean, it's the first one I've been on.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You've got who do you reckon is your? I swear to God, if you say Charlotte again, Ellie, I'm gonna drop kick you in the headphones. who's the biggest equestrian? And I swear to God, if you say Carl as well, this has been an hour about talking about them. Other than them, who's like the biggest name in your contacts? Or in general, who's the biggest name?
In general,
Yeah, because you're like more connected than us.
I'm not allowed. I can't say.
You can't say.
Oi, show us. No, this is a good way to
no.
finish
No,
it.
after the pod.
No, just show us, and then we won't. Don't show it, and we won't say it. Oi, I swear to God, if you come out like Sir Alex Ferguson, I'll cry. I'll show you mine afterwards. It will just be Josh Hill _ official Instagram and TikTok. For the record, Ellie is just currently.
cameras see.
No,
Camera's
your
there,
camera's there. You're fine. If what the fuck?
Wow.
Oi, nah, call him.
Right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to this evening's podcast.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. This is I don't really know. Charlotte, thank you for being present with this episode. Carl, thank you for making a feature, but as Ellie said, you're not quite Charlotte. So what we need you is to come on and basically debate who we should get both of them on at the same time, and they should fight to the death over the best. Drop Charlotte a message after this and say you should do this.
Okay.
You won't. You won't. It's all right. I'll DM her again and be like, hey mate.
Anyways, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you can't watch it on YouTube, check it out on Rumble.
Are we up on Rumble?
We are up on Rumble. I don't know why I went Asian then. or whatever.
We need to re-upload it. I feel like they've done a bit of a weird
Okay,
thing.
well,
where it's
look.
not.
Anyways, check out Rumble. If not, we're literally
He's trying to move the podcast on and finish it. I don't like it. I'm quite enjoying this.
we are literally on all streaming platforms. I can't even name every streaming platform
It's all
we're
right.
on.
I'll do that for you.
Let's not do that.
No,
because we're here all day.
I'll do it. Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Apple Music, Apple Alexa.
Thank you so much,
Google
guys, for
Plus,
listening.
Google
And we'll speak to you soon.
Pixel. So thank you very much. We didn't even thank Ellie. Thank you, Ellie. Where's your socials? It doesn't matter. Ellie McCarthy on Instagram and everywhere else. TikTok, Josh Hill
This chewing
_
gum's
official.
dissolved in my mouth.